Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am great. I'm just going to go in my studio. How was your weekend?
Very nice, thanks. I celebrated my daughter's birthday with her on Saturday.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. We're getting ready to go live. Give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to pop in with my other account to make. So we're live on the Six Social Network. I just want to let people know, and that when you grab the microphone, know that you are allowing us to use your audio and your profile picture as part of our women communication promo.
Okay.
Let me get Emily in here. Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Good morning.
I think I've been waiting for this Empower Yourself Monday episode for 2 weeks now. I think that since we had lunch with Laura, I was excited about her being here, and we're waiting for Emily to hop on. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Brent. Good morning, Graciela. And good morning, the real I how do. Oh my goodness, I have to get you to come on and tell me how to pronounce your name. I think Emily, I don't know if she has Android, and there's an issue with Android. I think on Twitter still. I thought they fixed it, but some people in Florida seem to have it okay. But so while we wait for a second for her to come back, I want to say hi to Laura. Hi, Laura. How you doing? How are we loving this weather?
Oh, my microphone was off. Sorry. Good morning. Good morning. I like this weather a lot. I love rainy days, and it's fun to have some colder days in Florida, maybe because we don't have them so often. So I really enjoy them. In fact, I opened my windows last night and slept with my windows open, and like that never happens. So it was just fun.
Emily, you might have to leave the space again and restart your phone. But I have a feeling that you have an Android, and there's been some problems with Android um, phone. And if you can just leave and come back and then restart your phone and see what happens, because there's been issues with Android. I don't know if they fixed it. I'm gonna see if I can make you a co-host from the other phone and see, so we can go from there. But let's go ahead and start. It is now 10:04. I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Empower Yourself Monday. We had an incredible guest last week, Sherry from New Zealand, and an incredible musician, and also she has incredible kids too. But today we have our very own Laura. But Laura, is it Basili or is it pronounced
Basili.
Basili, like Brazilian, but Brazili?
Basili, yeah, like basil, the herb, with an extra I on the end. So because it's an Italian last name, the SI phonetically it sounds kind of like a Z. So Basili.
Basili. Okay, now I'm never gonna forget that. I was like, I was asking my husband, and he's like, going, I don't know. But we're gonna talk to Laura. But before we start, I always like our Monday mindfulness breathing exercise that our VP Terry Michael leads us in, and then from there we'll start our conversation. And I'm gonna see if I can give Emily I'm gonna grab the other phone so I can speak on there, so I can give her the co-host feature. And again, everyone, thank you for being here. We're excited about another Monday on Empower Yourself Monday. Terry, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Tanya. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Laura. Everybody, whether you're sitting or standing or laying down, gently close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Again, inhale and exhale. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Keeping your eyes closed, relax your face, relax your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. Allow any stress in your upper body go down your arms, out through your fingertips. Relax your chest, torso, hips, gently breathing in and out through your nose, and allow any stress built up in your lower body go down your legs, out through your toes, and you're completely relaxed, eyes still closed, gently breathing in and out through your nose. And while you're doing this, I'd like you to visualize the air gently going in and out through your nose, focusing on that. And allow any other thoughts that come into your mind to float away like clouds in the sky. And slowly open your eyes. Take a deep breath in again. Exhale out through your mouth, letting it all go. And my closing thoughts are: constantly maintain alertness in walking, sitting, eating, even sleeping. You don't always need to meditate to keep your attention in the present time. Simply be aware. Alertness also serves your intuitive voice by keeping you focused and receptive. Continuous alertness is your task today. Namaste. May the divine in me honor the divine in you. Thank you.
While we're waiting for Emily, I wanted to welcome everyone to our Monday episode of Empower Yourself Monday. where we feature an outstanding communication specialist who is doing an incredible work, and also get to know who they are. When you think of empowerment, it's good. You have your ups and your downs, and your good times and your bad time, but you always strive to be the best. So I want to go ahead and welcome everyone to meet Laura Basili. I want to give you a little bio about her. With a background in English literature and international relations, Laura Basili loves to read and write, which is lucky because it's what she does for a living. She writes content for websites, newsletters, or printed materials. She also enjoys creating social media content to show people the human side of her company, a tropical hardwood importer or distributor. When she tells people what she does, they first ask, but isn't taking trees bad? And that's always fun because then she explains sustainable forestry management and economic development. She recently started a project to make sports more accessible for children with ASD and is excited to develop that further. I want to welcome Laura to the stage. Hey Laura, how are you? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm so excited to be here. This is such an honor.
Well, we're so thrilled that you're here because, we met Laura at our luncheon. We have this luncheon that we try to do once a month with our members, and our members to bring a friend, whoever has time, just to pop in. And Laura came with her neighbor who had been to one of our events at the Blue at the Boca Resort. And I was just like, we were just talking, and everything she was saying, I was just so into it. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing that now. So, Laura, can you tell? I read a little bio, but can you tell a little bit more about yourself and what are you working on now, and also some of the things you've done in the past, and where you're at today?
Sure, I'd love to. So, my background is I'm half Italian and half American. One of my parents is American, one of my parents is Italian. And my parents they split up when I was about 2 years old. So, I would spend half the year in one country and half the year in the other country. So, just from the get go, I grew up bilingual, bicultural, traveling, and oftentimes traveling by myself. Once I was old enough to do the whole unaccompanied minor type trips, I always did. So I feel like I've always grown up just very independent and very international. And that's something that I feel like I've been able to bring into my work career and my work life. Because when you grow up bicultural and bilingual, oftentimes you also have to blend because certain things are acceptable in one culture and they're not in others. So you kind of customize. I'm not saying you change yourself, but you customize yourself to be able to ingrain with that culture. And I think that in business, oftentimes that's the key, especially when you're doing content writing for businesses, because each business is so unique. So you have to adapt what you do to get their message across. It's never trying to get your own message across. It's trying to get their story told in the best way possible. And right now, I am working in a company. I'm a part owner of the company, in fact, which imports tropical hardwoods, and we distribute them all over the United States. And the key about our company is we have some of the best people working for us. And not just the best because they're the best engineer or the best salesperson, but because they're just so nice and so human. And it's like working in a big family. And that's one of the things that I think is so nice. And the other thing is that our products that we import, the hardwoods that we import, are really premium. They have been checked. So there's different grades of hardwoods. There's A grade, B grade, and we have the whole spectrum. We have it all in our warehouse and ready to be distributed. So it's we can help the supply chain, which in the past year or so was a little bit affected by everything that happened in 2020. And to me, one of the most important parts of these three pillars of our company, which is service, product, and it's environmental protection. So we have 100% chain of custody, which, if you're not familiar with it, means from the
Yeah, I
time
was going to ask you, tell us about that. What does that
yes,
mean? And can you tell us the name of your company?
it's Brazilian lumber. It's Brazilian lumber. We have 2 locations, one in Miami and one in Los Angeles. And but we ship all over internationally. I mean, we ship full containers from Brazil directly to the Bahamas and other ports. So we can do small orders, big orders. We do it all, really. But so sustainable forestry management means that when you have a forest, you really want to preserve it the best way possible. And so forestry engineers they select trees that are no longer seed bearing and they're at the end of their lifespan. So they're already starting to decay on the inside. They decide which way that tree is going to fall when it gets taken. And then once it gets sawn, they take a picture of like a thumbprint almost, but the rings of the stump and the rings of the log have to match up, right? So we get audited. So if we say, okay, we took tree A, then we have to see log A at the factory. And there's a little GPS marker on the log so that you can constantly track it from the time it's taken to the time in the forest to the time it gets to the factory and processed. So that's what I mean by 100% chain of custody. Like we know where every single one of our logs has been throughout the entire process from getting it from the rainforest to our customer. And that means that it's completely controlled and legal. And one of the things that in order for you to operate and manage a forest in Brazil, and in order to get FSC certification, that's the Forest Stewardship Council, in order to get that certification, you also have to provide the local population with schools, with medical facilities. All of our facilities have to have, running water and bathrooms and things that maybe in the United States we considered being standard. But in other countries, if there's no law to protect against that, might not be some of the services that companies provide. We even have to check that the factory workers' children are going to school by checking their report cards and their attendance. So there are a lot of regulations and rules, and this is a way for the local population to have an income and a good income, in fact, because obviously, minimum pay has to be respected, pension plans, health plans, like whatever the governmental regulations are, they all have to be followed. So I'm really, really proud of that. I'm really proud of our company for doing that. And it's something that we tried to do even on a small level. Like, we've tried to get everybody to use mugs instead of paper cups, just because we really want to create that culture of environmental protection.
I'm actually on your website and BrazilianLumber.com, and I noticed you guys get some media about the premium decking built the right way.
Yeah.
Is that the video I saw? The way you, I got obsessed watching your YouTube video when we first met. I went and checked out your YouTube video right away, and I was like, "Oh my God, check her out! I could do that." Like, the way you showed it, it was demonstrate how you guys. It's like Lego but made out of wood. Kind of like tick tick, it like connects very quickly.
Oh, the deck tiles. You're
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about the
I
deck
saw
tiles. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So they're the 24-inch by 24-inch tiles, like the tiles maybe like a porcelain tile that you're familiar with, but they're made out of Ipe boards. And it's really a great product because it's semi-permanent. So, it's Ipe is an expensive wood because it's so dense. I mean, it's really, really, really dense. It sinks in water. So if anybody ever gives you like pop quiz, does wood sink in water? You can say, yes, I know a type of wood that sinks in water. Tropical hardwood does. Ipe sinks in water. That's how dense it is. So obviously it is a very, it's a higher end product. But with these deck tiles, you can take your deck with you. So let's say you're renting someplace and you don't want to spend the money to do the upgrades. Well, you just can put in deck tiles, which they're permanent while they're there, but they're very easily removed. So you can take them with you to your next house or, put them out on a rooftop or on a balcony or anywhere where maybe space is a little bit more limited.
I love that. That's really cool. And you actually have a podcast too, right? Because I'm on here and it says you're the deck diva.
I am. That is my
Tell me about the deck
person.
diva. I love this. You're on Spotify. I love this.
So actually, I participated in the home remodeling and design shows podcast. So that's Adam's podcast. He's fabulous. If you guys ever need anything in the construction world, Adam is like the mayor of town. Like he knows all of South Florida. He knows every South Florida construction business, and he is just one of those guys who loves to build bridges. He loves to connect people and find synergies and make introductions, and he does it like out of the goodness of his heart. And he's just really upbeat and super friendly, and he has this amazing podcast. So please check it out because it's really cool. And he invited me to come and speak about our company. So I did, and that was really exciting because actually it was not my first time speaking on a podcast. Before that, I had spoken on a podcast twice with Karen Deerwester. She has a Love Me, Hear Me, See Me podcast, and it's about parenting. So I had been on that one twice, speaking about my experience with my children. But this is my first time being on a podcast on a professional level versus more of a personal level.
I love that. And so I'm gonna give out the mics for everybody, but Terry, did you have a question? I kind of want to know about Laura, the younger Laura, before she got into this. Is this what you wanted to do when you grow up? To be an entrepreneur, to be an educator? Tell us about that. I mean,
Oh
like,
no, I was
I'm looking
pre-med.
at all your stuff online. I'm like, you do a lot.
I was pre-med. So I
Oh,
think I think I was the only, I mean, probably not, but I feel like I was the only English major in college. I went to school at Emory University in Atlanta, and that's a big school for medicine. They do a lot of research. So, and I picked it because I really wanted to go to med school. So I took chemistry, organic chemistry, physics, biochemistry, biology, anatomy. I took all of it thinking that I wanted to go to med school. So I had 4 years where I spent 4 years in a German family. My mom worked for IBM. They transferred her to Germany when I was 6 years old, but she had to work all around. I mean, she was in Denmark one week and Singapore the next week. And so she wasn't there to be able to be stable for me. So she actually sent me to live with the family that had hosted her when she did study abroad for a year in high school. She had done study abroad in Germany for a year, and she kept in touch with the family. And that's where I lived for 4 years during elementary school. So I actually went to elementary school in Germany. And the mom in that family was a gynecologist. So I was dead set and super sure that I wanted to be a gynecologist. And that's what my goal was when I was growing up. So since I was maybe 6 years old until I was about 22 or 23, and the MCAT didn't go so well, I decided that maybe that wasn't, the career for me. It was funny, of all the sections. So when you take the MCAT, you have to take a biology section, physical science, biological sciences, and a reading comprehension. I did amazing on the reading comprehension. I got one of the best scores, but I did not do so well in the sciences. So that was just not for me. And that's when I sort of pivoted and changed my life, moved to Spain to try to learn Spanish, got a job in Spain because I'm a European citizen. I'm a native English speaker, plus I have a degree in English. So the Pontifical University of Salamanca hired me, and I taught English for my very first time. And I remember walking in thinking, oh, this has got to be easy. And the first question a student asked me was, can we work on phrasal verbs? And in the back of my head, I was like, what on earth is a phrasal verb? I had no idea. I had to look it up. But you learn and you learn to teach. And I loved teaching. I thought that was amazing. And that's something that I still carry on with me today because I feel like I'm always teaching my public or my customer about my product.
I love that. So like Emily can't speak because there's something wrong with the Android phone on Twitter, but she had texted me a question. She wanted to ask you about your suggestions for women to succeed in a male-dominated industries. We want to talk a little bit about that, especially when what you're in right now is. I think of mostly the men are in this type of industry. Can you touch base on that with us? And we love that too. When you mentioned that at lunch, we love that, by the way.
Yeah, well, it is. A lot of building and construction is done by men, physically done by men, planned out by men. You know, a lot of the architects that we work with, or a lot of the general contractors we work with, most of the people who are installing, I would say like 98%, are all men. So the dynamics there are interesting depending on where the person is, um, in that, whether they're the general contractor, you know, on the managing side, or whether they're on the installation side. Both brings not problems, but challenges to you as a woman. Like when I go onto construction sites, you know, it's always like, what are you doing here? I get questioned so much more for my presence on a construction site than any of my male colleagues ever do. A lot of times, and now I don't answer phone calls, but I know a lot of the women who work in my office have this issue. When males call, they'll say, "Oh, you know, can I speak to somebody who knows about wood?" When they're speaking to people who are experts in wood, who've been working in the company for 8 years and can really help them better than some of the newer male colleagues. So everything has its challenges. But what I've found is, as long as you know, and then maybe you have to know it more than a male would, but when you have the knowledge, when you are professional, and when you're sometimes, I would say, very neutral, then a lot of the issues that you might encounter kind of dissipate a little bit more. Like if once they might, I've found that males sometimes will react to talking to me as a female in the business, but then once they hear me talk about the product and they see that I do have the knowledge, then it sort of lowers their guard against me a little bit, if that makes any sense.
Now it does. I love that you said that, and it's true. And for women to be working in a men dominant field, when I work for Toshiba, I like double and triple study myself as far as the what kind of copy of it, like everything I need would know, but plus more, because just in case. I mean, did you always feel like you had to prove yourself first before you were able to be accepted? But in your company, you're a part owner, so how does that feel as far as being the owner, part of the owner, and
Nobody
also
knows I'm part owner.
oh,
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And it's, in fact, when they write messages to us through Instagram or whatever, they're always like, "Oh, we love the girl you hired to show off your product." you know. And I go with it. I don't care. It's not about knowing that I'm an owner. Like, it's not an ego thing to me, you know. Like if they want to think that I'm like the the what is it,
the two-time girl. Remember that
yeah,
show?
you remember the one who like
I
uh, the Wheel of Fortune girl. If that's what
You
they
mean
want to
Vana?
think of me, that's
I want.
fine.
I always want to be Vana.
I'll be Ivana. I'll be the hostess. I don't care. It makes no difference to me. You know, it doesn't change who I am. One thing I'll say that I have been changing and doing a little bit is going away from the neutral. Like I said, part of it is being super super professional, and I'm kind of exploring not doing that. Like I feel like I've been in it long enough to where, you know what, I can do this a little differently. And silly changes, like I don't know, my motto for this week, last week, and then for this week too, but it just I saw this phrase and it really stuck to me. And it was, old keys can't open new doors. And when I was getting my nails done, I usually get very neutral nails. So, because I'm always, handling products and showing them videos. So I don't want anyone to think, look at my nails versus the product. And this week I said, you know what? I'm going to go crazy. Every single one of my nails is a different color and it has a swirl and a design. And I'm just thinking, you know what? My nails are not who I am. They don't define what I know. And if I want to do things differently and bring some, extra spice to this, well, let's do it. What's the worst that can happen? right? I mean, already I know the product. I know the people know me already. So why not explore and do something different? Why not? Something great can happen from it, you know?
I love that. Old keys cannot open up new doors. I love it. So
Well, yeah.
true.
If you want to see a change, you can't keep doing things the same way over and over again. And if the change at first is just a small one, like changing your nail color, then go, because it's those little changes that will build up your confidence to be able to make the big changes. And it also breaks down the repetition in your head of, your brain wants to stay comfortable and keep doing the same thing over and over again because that makes it predictable. So if you want to make it unpredictable, start making little, tiny changes. Put a different keychain on your keys. And then when your eyes look at it, it's like, oh, wait, are those my keys? Yeah, they are your keys. You get them out of what's automatic and into the present. And I think that to me is one of the goals for this year.
I agree with you. That's why I feel like 2023 is like. But I think Brent has been dying to speak to you because I was telling him about your other project that we talked about, the ASD, autism spectrum disorder. I want to talk a little bit about that. And
Absolutely.
also your upcoming project. We had lunch. I was so enlightened. I'm like, we got to have another lunch about this. So, and then I told Brent all about you. And so, Brent, before I give you the mic, let me have Laura tell us a little bit about her upcoming project and what inspired her to start it.
Okay, so I have a son who's on the autism spectrum. He's 6 years old, and he has gone through ABA therapy, that's applied behavioral analysis. He's done occupational therapy, he's done speech therapy, and we found a trainer. He's a professional sports trainer. He trains Olympic athletes. His name is Filippo Barbieri. He works with Speed Lab. And we started taking our son because one of his top athletes, in fact, he's the champion, the mountain biking champion right now, is autistic. So I found that once Thomas started working with Speed Lab and started, working with neuroscience, his concentration became so much better. His tolerance for certain things became higher. He did a lot less stimming. And he went from not being able to stay on a tricycle because he wanted to get off the tricycle and, break sticks, to now being able to mountain bike. And he's gone through and done already 3 races in mountain biking. So I thought, wow, this is really interesting. And I started talking to Thomas's BCBA. That's a board certified behavioral analyst. That's the person who puts a plan in place to help autistic children set certain goals so that they can advance. And I talked to her about this, and I found that there's not that much communication between the behavioralists and the neuroscientists. And I thought, interesting. And I've taken Thomas to several sports activities, and it's really, really hard because they're not designed for him. So I remember sitting the first time I took him to soccer and crying. Like, thank God I had sunglasses, because I was a hot mess. I mean, I was in tears. There was no way this child could do these activities. They would say red means stop, green means go, and that meant nothing to Thomas. So that was my experience there. So I found there amazing, amazing behavioralists who know how to work with autistic children. And there's amazing, amazing sports coaches who really know how to teach children sports. But somehow those two worlds are not combining. That's where I found a gap, and that's the gap that I'd like to fill, because I think that through sports and through movement and through learning these pre-sports skills such as balance and coordination and cross-body movement, something happens within the body that also is always going to affect the mind. I mean, we all know about endorphins and sports and how wonderful they are for you. But imagine that on a different level, especially in a population that has a very, very hard time doing a lot of the tasks that we take for granted. So that's my project. And that's what I'm working on. And I'm actually super excited because April is National Autism Month and April 2nd is National Autism Day. And April 2nd is on a Sunday. And the Tuesday after that, we're launching the very first gymnastics class tailored for autistic children at Twister Gymnastics, and it's something that kind of just came out of a spark of an idea. I mean, it was like a random October Tuesday, and I talked to the director, and I said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool?" And from that, now we have a class going, so I'm really excited.
I love that. Oh my God, that's so exciting. I'm so glad for you.
Me too. Me too. And now I'm going to. My partner is developing, a curriculum and all kinds of activities, and we're going to take that to the city of Boca Raton and see if maybe we can start a pre-sports class for autistic children at the community center. So that's still in the works. I probably shouldn't talk about it, but just putting it out there. It's something that we're working towards. It's a goal that we have.
I love it, and I know you're going to accomplish it.
Thank you.
And Brent, the mic is yours.
You know, I'm all about supporting AWC and supporting you, Tanya. But I'm fascinated by the guest that you have on today because I am all about disability because I came to Tanya with an idea about having a Twitter space called Disability Hour, where I feature a disability guest, and Tanya sponsors it. And when to I when your project is closer to launching, I would like to offer that Tanya and I have you on my disability show.
I would love to. I would love to come on. It's something that is very close to my heart, obviously, and I think there's a big need for it. So I would absolutely love to get the word out about it. Thank you.
I will also let you know, Laura, that I started. Tanya knows about this already. That I became a journalist with a press pass with a person with a disability, and show and it's been a joy for me to show awareness of what a person with a disability can do as a journalist. But I'm also getting into Web3, getting into web accessibility. So I would love to work alongside you on web accessibility or collaborate with you on your project any way that I can.
Thank you. I would love that. That's, and having the input from people who have had experiences, who have a disability is super important to me. I think one of the things that I'd like to do is to meet a lot more autistic adults and hear about their experiences and hear about their challenges, because I think their input is the most valuable.
And I'll just vouch that Tanya is the most amazing person, and I'm happy that I met Tanya through Twitter Spaces.
Me too.
Well, the craziest thing about all of this is like most of us have met on Twitter Spaces, and then most of us, like some people in the space, I'm personal close friends with that I've known for a long time, and like Tom Furman right here, and then I met Vicky, who I just like from the UK. We've never met each other, but like we've been talking nonstop. And then the Spoon down here, he was able to meet with me in the Metaverse conference room that I built, and we sat around and talked, and And then Brent, Vicky, and I, the three of us, we went checking out all the different metaverses, and Brent was like moving. I can barely walk in that thing, right? I don't know how to walk in it, and Brent's in there running around, jumping around, and I was laughing. I was like, wow. Then I had that moment, aha moment. I'm like, God, the metaverse, the accessibility, how it's gonna like help people if they're wheelchair ridden or they're disabled, but they can't move around. But if they're able to move around in the metaverse and meet people and have business meetings like they would in real life, I just was so in awe with it. So partly, a lot of my projects I build, like I think about Brent and what he talks about too in his show. So this would be really fun when you start going with your project and
it would be fun to have your coffee shop as a venue, Tanya.
Yes, we're building that. Actually, I'm designing that, but the design we had, it doesn't quite fit into Spatio, so I might have to build another one. It's just like in the when you design a room or a space for people to go live in, you still have to make sure the chairs fit properly and I'm gonna get so the cafe that we have building right now, Social Chats Cafe. I think I have to go move it to another platform because Vicky and I were in there, but it's not like it's a lot of chairs, but it doesn't. A lot of people can't sit because of the avatar. I think I'm not sure. I'm trying to work it out, but the one that I had built by a scan of a room. It works out a lot. So I don't know. I don't know if it's easier for me to just go find a coffee shop, scan it, and then put it together, or just tell my builder and like just put some chairs and couch together, or I can make one look like that show Friends, because that's what my coffee shop looks like now. It's like the Friends coffee shop, where you have the couch and the chair and different things. I have a little corner where I was gonna put a little piano there so that people can come, even though you're not going to see them play the piano, but you can hear them play the piano. So it's interesting
You're
what we're
all
going
about
through.
ideas, Tanya. Every day you're thinking about something new.
Well, I'm on this task of looking at swimming pool and bike trail for Laura, actually.
And
Just
Tonya,
That
I,
is
I
right.
Tonya, I don't drink coffee, so make sure you have hot cocoa and some lemonade and iced tea. And with the pool, I want an infinity pool. Thank you very much.
you got it. So, good morning, Spoon. How are you?
Doing well, thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. So it's 10:41. I'm giving out the mic, and I wanted to also say hi to Death Ranger. He's in the space too. And he does XRP Lounge. And also we have in the space, we have Singularity Engineer. Hey, how's it going? If anybody want to pop up here and ask some questions to Laura, and especially if you want to know more about anything to do with the Amazon. I wanted to talk to you about that too, Laura, because I think I brought that up to you because I host like NFTs for a cause, and so there's a couple of projects where if you buy one of their mints from music to art, they'll donate to this organization that plant trees. And when I asked you that, you were like, no, 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 no. I know we're going out everywhere, but I just forgot that I kind of like wanted you to like talk a little bit about that too. And then if anyone else want to ask Laura any questions, please raise your hand. Laura, can you share a little bit about that too? Because I'm going to cut that snippet up because there's a lot of projects they're giving money to this organization to plant trees. Can you tell me more about how does that affect the land?
Yes, absolutely. So, I should start off with I am not an expert on reforestation. I just have done a lot of research on my own, and I know what the best practices are in the forest that we manage. So, each project obviously is unique, and some may be very well structured. But here are some of the problems with reforestation. Where are you replanting? Like maybe it's the moors or a savanna, and maybe originally there were no trees there, and there's an entire ecosystem underneath the grasses that you're going to disrupt if you start planting trees there. The other thing is, what types of trees are you planting? you're probably going to be planting native trees, because I think everybody knows that is the probably the best thing to do. Although, again, a forestry engineer should probably decide that. But if you're only planting one or two types of trees, that's not what a forest is usually like, right? A forest usually has a variety of types of trees. The other question I would ask is, what kind of support and maintenance are these trees being given once they're planted? Because, it's a big media moment. Woohoo, we planted a tree. And, we've seen plenty of presidents, queens, women in high heels, men in $5,000 suits with a shovel in their hands. What happens 2 years later? What types of systems are in place to check on the health of those trees, on the maintenance of those trees? So sometimes it's not just the planting, it's the maintaining that's important. And I think it's important to think, let's try to not take the trees in the first place. Let's try to take only the trees that are commercially valuable and that are no longer seed bearing and that have been identified as trees that, after I think it's 80 years, trees are no longer absorbing carbon. So, each species is going to be different, but you want to know those types of things and consider those kinds of questions when you look at that kind of project.
Yes, Spoon. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Laura, you caught my attention. Is that your business? Like, what do they call that? I don't know, landscaping type, but you more focus on the types of plant that should be placed at a certain project. Is that your business?
No, no, I don't do any landscaping. What I do is I import tropical hardwoods for decks and docks and cladding and ceilings, any kind of outdoor applications where you see wood being used. I sell that type of wood.
Okay. And which country are you getting these materials from?
Depends. We have different providers. So some are in Brazil, some are in Panama, some are in Colombia. It just depends.
Yeah, we should definitely touch base if you offer materials, because the biggest issue that we come across is materials, where we're going to begin construction in about 2 3 years in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia,
Hmm.
and we're building a hotel over there. And my architects are always looking for materials when we start planning, especially in our deck, because we're building an infinity pool on the roof deck, and there's some areas with decks, and they have certain rooms that would have these special type of wood for the showers, because there's limited supplies in Ethiopia, so we have to get them from different countries, and because we just can't get them there, it's not all there. It's mostly concrete, let's just say.
Gotcha. Well, so one of the things that I think is super important to see is the janka hardness of the wood. That's going to tell you how dense the wood is, and that will tell you how resistant it is to exterior conditions. So, for example, ipe, which is a type of wood that I sell, was used on the Coney Island Boardwalk, on the Atlantic City Boardwalk. It's used in the piers, like if you ever go down to South Beach at the South Point Pier. All of that is made out of ipe because it is so resistant. So it has a very high janka rating. The other thing that I would say is really important when you're sourcing materials is to make sure that they come from responsibly managed forests. So that could be FSC wood, so from the Forest Stewardship Council. So, for example, Brazilian Lumber, my company, is an FSC certified company. We have 100% chain of custody of our product. So, those are the kind of things that you want to look at when you are sourcing wood for a project, especially an outdoor project.
No, I appreciate that, but you're definitely going over my head. I'll let you deal with the architects for that one. Now, my next question is: are you the manufacturer, or are you the distributor, or both?
Both.
Super, that's wonderful. I'm going to follow you, and if you could follow me, we'll definitely touch base and keep in touch. When the time comes, I'm going to connect you with the lead architect, and he's the one that pretty much goes through all those designs, and he finds all the suppliers. I don't have any say in the area, but if I can help him find some contacts, especially in materials, I mean, that would be great. Hopefully, you won't have any issues as far as shipping into Africa.
Yeah, no. And if you want to follow our Instagram, we're at Brazilian_lumber. And I'd love for everybody to follow us because you'll get so much more information there.
Excellent. Thank you. That's all I had.
Super.
Emily just got kicked out of Twitter Spaces by because she has Android. It's crazy. I'm hoping that they fix this. So our communication director, she wanted to be on here today too. It was really she wanted to ask questions. So Laura, tell us now as far as some. Are you working on any other projects? Are you focusing on your upcoming project that you've been creating? Because I think that what you're doing is fantastic. If you need somebody, if you have something to publish about that day, you give it to me. I can publish it in my press room.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to.
Yeah.
I have to write out a press release.
Oh,
So
yeah.
no,
Just
the only other thing that I've really started to explore is the blockchain, because I think that's one way that you could really bring legality to, wood, especially because it's one of those very controversial topics. But I think that if it were on the blockchain, that would be kind of a guaranteed way to show people, this is legally sourced wood, and the other option might not be legally sourced wood. So I love the idea of exploring the blockchain and seeing the potential of the metaverse for autistic individuals. So, imagine if you are a single parent, and a lot of parents of autistic children are, because I think the average, don't quote me on this, but I have heard that the average divorce rate for parents of an autistic child is 80%. So a lot of single parents, if they have an older autistic child, they might not be able to mobilize, because it might be hard. The child might have, or the teenager, or the young adult, or the older adult might have a meltdown. And what do you do in that case physically? Just think of it physically. If you're a smaller adult with a larger adult, how do you mobilize that person to go to anywhere really? But if you could bring if you could bring them to places and experiences in the metaverse and have them practice certain skills in the metaverse, wouldn't that be just so enlightening and so liberating for so many individuals? So that's kind of a little bit of what I'm trying to explore. I'm still learning so much about the metaverse and so much about blockchain and so much about NFTs. And, I'd really love to learn more and collaborate more. And, I started old school. So you asked me, do you have any other projects? Well, kind of. So I'm writing I'm trying to write some children's books about different sports activities and what to expect, and just trying to really see them from an autistic point of view, with things that might stand out or might be difficult or might be different than how they might be perceived by a neurotypical child. So I guess that's another little side project.
no, I love that, and I told you I'd help you in any way. We had lunch together. We were talking nonstop. I was so into it. Yeah, I really believe everything you're saying, because I think, like, even especially with lumber, to put everything in the blockchain. But also, I work with a lot of researchers. I always felt that their data should always be in a blockchain. Just to have it validated and know where it's at and what people are doing and everything, like all that information, I think is so important. And especially when you think about lumber, you think about, the most that I think about is people talking about deforestation, but then on the flip side, what happens, like, is there a book of all the different trees and all different part of the world and when it was planted, and, like, is there anything like that to keep track of it? Because I think that's what the blockchain is that what you're talking about, keeping
Well,
it
so
like that?
actually, that's the first thing that we do. So when we start, if one area gets designated for logging, the very first thing that has to be done is they have to take stock of all the flora and the fauna. So that all gets inventoried before you can even start any kind of logging project. So that's the very first thing. The other thing about deforestation that you have to keep in mind is a company that sells wood is going to only pick commercially viable trees. We don't get to pick them. The forestry engineers pick them, again, based on the tree's longevity, whether it's seed bearing or not, what kind of trees are around it. And you have to think some of these trees are the biggest and the oldest. And you think, why would you take a big old tree? Well, because it's already dead inside and it's taking up a lot of canopy space, which means the sunlight is not coming down to the younger trees. When you remove this big tree, you open up a hole in the canopy, which allows more energy to come in, more sunlight to come in for many of the surrounding younger trees to come up. So you're actually allowing more trees to grow in a very healthy way. Other industries, agricultural, mining, what they do is they don't care about commercial viability of the trees. They will burn absolutely every species and every piece just to get the land. And with mining, you already know the environmental consequences of that, the amount of water that's required for that, whether it's agriculture or mining. So when you have a legal forestry, like a legal company that's doing things the right way, it really is a way to provide the minimal impact to the environment with the most economic impact to the local population.
I loved everything you just said. It's so true too. But I wanted to go ahead and be mindful of everyone's time. We will be finishing up the space in 5 minutes. We go 60 minutes. That's our thing because I cut it all up and then we put this as a podcast. So, but I want to give Singularity Engineer an opportunity to ask a question. I gave him the mic. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's everyone doing?
We're doing great. And then
Awesome.
before I give you the mic, Terry Michael is going to be stepping away. Also, she has an. Terry, I appreciate you being here for leading the exercise, the breathing exercise. But the mic is yours, Singularity.
All right. I actually didn't have a question, but I just wanted to say that the whole Twitter Space thing, crashing on Android phones, you have to downgrade your app on your Android phone in order for it to work. That's what I did, and yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, our communication director, who has been waiting for this space, wanted to chat with Laura and had some questions, but she had an Android, so she actually updated, and I think it made it worse. So she has to um, backdate it, right? To the last.
Yeah.
When was the last? Which number should she backdate to?
The current is 9.8, but she could downgrade to I believe it's 9.76. I have the link if you don't mind me sharing under the space in the comments.
Yeah,
I
you can
could
leave it in
just
the
share it.
comment. That'd be great. We'll let everyone
All
know.
right,
I
good.
appreciate you for coming here.
Yeah, great to be here all the time. I think the last time we had a space together, I mean, I was the last one speaking and the space just crashed and like
Yes, we were all hanging on, but that space was going on for like
yeah.
24
I
hours.
felt awful. I was like, whoa, was it waiting for me or something?
No, it wasn't you. I think it was going on for 24 hours. It was and the host had problem with because he had an Android, so it was the whole thing was funny, but the weekend was incredible, especially on
Yeah, I
Spaces.
agree.
But it's about 10:57. I appreciate everyone for being here and asking some incredible questions. And Laura, before we let you go, any final thoughts? And also, I'd love for you to tell us how to get a hold of you.
Okay, so I actually have a final question. You said this then gets put into a podcast. How do we access that podcast?
Well, what happens is right now is it is live stream on YouTube, Facebook. If you just Google your name, it pops up. That's how people do it. It's on Facebook, our Facebook group page, on my personal page, YouTube, Twitter Live. It's actually on AWCSF Twitter Live right now. So we'll share it on, and this is recorded. And then once that's done, I download, and it's going to go on Anchor.fm, and then from Anchor, it goes out to 12 others. So it'd be Spotify, Apple, and all those.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with distribution of content. If you're gonna make content, might as well distribute it. As far as and then we cut up little snippets and different things that we talked about, and I wanted to keep this because as we go together into the metaverse, as you want to call it, you and your project, and if I can help you in any way, I think it's going to be a fun time. And then with Brent, with his show too, the Disability Hour, I see it going very far also, because there's a lot of, we need to have different conversation, and also letting people know, be aware about the different tools that they can utilize. And I think, Lloyd, like, do you ever think about maybe starting your own podcast? Or I know you're so busy doing everything else, but do you have future plans to do something like that? Because with your guidance, and what you've gone through, I mean, that's why back in 2010, I pushed this whole idea of mommy bloggers being considered as journalists, because the mommy bloggers knew more about what's going on and what being a mom's about, and the things that their child need or were going through. So, and at the time, nobody really believed in the mommy bloggers. They thought it was kind of weird that all these moms at home sitting around getting together and creating this whole army. And then Boca Modern Mom, we've actually had on our show, Michelle, which
I love her. I went to school
I
with her. We
know,
actually went
right?
to high school together. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I feel like, if you're a mom and you're going through some stuff, and it's a great way to like bring other moms together too, and empower them. So I hope you're going to be doing that. If we can help you in any way, please let me know. There's a whole group of mommy bloggers, and all over the place. There's the blogging mamas is one of them. There's blogging papas. I mean, it's crazy but they all have been sponsored and made money and supported their children, and are doing great. So I hope you're doing that, Laura, because your message is so like empowering.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. It's something that I definitely have considered, but just haven't had the time, I guess. Or yeah, the know-how. So it's just, but it's definitely something that I'm very open to. I mean, you know me, I like to talk. I like to talk and I like to build bridges. That's one thing. If I can tell you, oh, check this person out, or this person would be perfect for this project, or I think you guys need to, get into contact. That's something that I always, always love to do, because I think that making those connections and finding those synergies is one of my talents, honestly. So that's something that I appreciate. And I love giving platforms for other women, for other people in general, but especially for other women, because I think that that's one of the things that, it's the sisterhood, right? And so we lift each other up, and we learn from each other, and we support each other, and that makes for a better world. And I think as women, we are definitely already sort of our way of being is already like community oriented somehow. Like we come with that chip in us. I don't think anybody has to teach us that. So I like to really use that.
So I appreciate you for being here, and I want to leave you something for the back of me, that there is a metaverse social network. It just got heavy amount of funding from India. The difference between this metaverse is that you go in there, you build your environment, you upload in there. Then, if you like what you are experiencing, you can actually find builders to build it for you through them. So something for you to think about. I'll send you the link to it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then this way you can like maybe meet other people and also help your company too, because you'll be providing the wood, as far as the lumber is concerned, for that too, and provide some education, because that's the only one that I've found, and that they just literally just got like huge amount of funding, and I think that's one of the metaverse I want to go in just to see what it how it feels, how is it used. But when I read about it, I thought about you, Laura. I was like, she should be in here instead, because what you're
That's
doing is,
awesome.
yeah, your metaverse is like you're what you're describing to me, and we're not going to talk about it because I want to keep that confidential, but what you're describing to me is such a needed um environment in the metaverse, where and it will help a lot of people too, a lot of children and their parents. So
I think so. I'm very hopeful.
but on that note, no, I did hopeful it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a game changer, and I love the fact that we're talking about it and we're embracing it, and you're in a space with a whole bunch of Web3 people too. So everyone, make sure you guys follow Laura. And Laura, again, thank you. We'll have to plan our next lunch together. And I appreciate Spoon for popping in, Singularity for being here, Vicky, as always, love our sisterhood, and Graciela, same here. And Death Ranger, thank you for being here, by the way. And Brent, I appreciate you. And Brev Dev, thank you so much for being here. And Louis, I love you. And Gary, thank you for being here. And I'm just going to go down the list real quick to give everybody a shout out. But Nice Project, thank you for being here. And also, a space. I think didn't hear your name there. Just me again. Thank you everyone for being here. We'll be back next Monday for another Empower Yourself Monday. We're featuring an entrepreneur from Boca. She started this incredible project, so we're gonna bring her on, and she too wants to get into Web3. Doesn't know how, but so if you're a
Tanya?
Web3 developer, come on back next Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be here. And Laura, what did you? And also, Laura, tell us how to get a hold of you.
So you can get a hold of me on Instagram. So it's Brazilian_lumber, or here on Twitter. And you can always shoot me an email. It's Laura, LAURA _ Basili, BASILI, @hotmail.com, or marketing @brazilianlumber.com. But I wanted to leave you with one final thought that really caught my attention today. Are you ready?
Yes. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, Laura, this always happens
We're
to us.
ready. Go ahead.
Oh, I think she got me there.
I know, me too. I think there you go. Her mic came back on. Laura.
Oh, did you hear me?
That was a good
No.
one.
We didn't hear anything.
No way!
Yes. Okay.
So I said,
One more final
my
thought.
final thought is, when you find a why, you will find the how.
So true. So true. Thank you, Laura. You have a great
Thank you,
day.
you
And
too.
everyone, again, thank you so much. I feel so grateful to everyone for being here. Appreciate you. And everyone have a great day. And we will be back next Monday for another episode of Empower Yourself Monday. Bye, everybody.